Alright guys, welcome back to the second part of Unit 1 here for Forensics. I apologize, my webcam decided to crash and not become enabled, so I was just talking about this. Back into it. So the new challenge is tracking spoofed email addresses, emails pretending to be emails from different places, understanding metadata, so how does the location data really look like if they're saying they're somewhere else, like by proxy, interpreting timestamps across time zones, if it's time zones are kind of confusing. And those are logs from critical for forensic artifacts. So moving on, we have online identity and anonymity. So, just because we have logs doesn't mean we know who was behind the keyboard. That's the thing. So examples are like fake social media accounts. You've seen all those kinds of accounts. Like there's even something called troll farming, where they have fake accounts for just making people angry and mad. And I'm sorry if I'm out of frame. VPN usage is huge now too. Like a lot of people use VPNs just to browse the internet because they want to be anonymous and don't want to be bothered by their ISP or tracked. Proxy servers, that's another thing. You connect to a different kind of proxy, a Tor network, which was first invented by the U.S. Navy. It's a different kind of networking where you, for browsing the internet, it's really anonymous. It's really, small footprint-wise, so it's more for anonymity than anything else. And it comes up with different challenges. You run into attribution difficulty. What do I mean by that? For example, when it comes to Tor, if you keep the size of the window you're on browsing with a certain size, you can't really tell what kind of computer they're using, what kind of monitor, things like that. If you're using proxy servers, where are they connecting to? Where is it coming from? Where is it going? Who's hosting it? Masked IP addresses are more common with VPN because it gives you a different IP address from the one you have from a different provider or a different connection to a different server. And there's a bunch of digital misdirection built in with all of this. They pretend to be somebody else with a fake social media account, but you can make this whole alternate persona. That's the best way I can describe it. So moving on, guys. And then we have the rise of online fraud and e-commerce crime. So credit card fraud is pretty common, right? I mean, I've had my debit card cloned, I had credit cards copied. Auction scams, like eBay scams, where people sell things for a certain fake amount of price and it's fake items. Fake storefronts, I'm sure you've seen it, where some items that you're looking for are being sold for cheap prices and you're like, is this real or is it too good to be true? Business email compromise is pretty common because that's where a lot of the spam and phishing emails come from, like the ones that pretend to be PayPal or a phone company or whatnot. They're usually broken into emails and they're spoofed or used or whatnot, and they hijack the inbox and spam a bunch of people. So challenges that arise from this are fast-moving digital transactions. Like this stuff happens quick. Everything's paid by cryptocurrency now, so it's even more anonymous. There's a bunch of rapid accounts just become milled and turned over constantly, and then the internet kind of turns into a big fraud, scalable enterprise. Sadly, that's where a lot of things reside in Tor. Is how you get to a bunch of these dark web marketplaces too. The dark web and Tor are kind of synonymous because they're about the same thing. Tor is just the access door to get to. If you want to explore Tor, be my guest to look, but don't click, if that makes sense. And Tor is more akin to an onion because you are going through different layers. It's the best way I can describe it. No, I'm not going to get into it. No, I'm not going to bring it up on my end because I don't use it. So botnets I've talked about. So distributed attacks. So DDoS is like the biggest one, where they just ping a website to death. If you've never done it, pull up command prompt right now, let it load, then just type in ping space www.cnn.com or yahoo.com or whatever, you enter. It'll send a command, it'll ping it, and it'll reply back. That's ping. So it's command and control. The servers are all around there, and then it's infected computers used to attack targets. That's what a botnet pretty much is. And then the new challenges are identifying the infected endpoints. So they're not just one cluster in one area. They can be spread out. It could be, grandma's home computer that she clicked on this I want $1,000 prize banner from a website, and that's how I got infected. Then tracing the origin of coordinated attacks, because a lot of these are usually referred to as DDoS storms, because it's a big wave of things being denied, right, by a bunch of machines. But it's not just a computer anymore. It's the Internet of Things. Remember, it could be a washer, it could be a dryer, it could be a fridge, it could be, I think it's a smart appliance in the house, like the TVs are smart, right? Fire sticks, Rokus, you name it. Apple TVs, for example, they have that ability, probably do, can all be used to ping, right? If they all could ping at once, if 5 items ping one thing, it doesn't slow it down, but 500 items ping one thing, it can bog it down because it's trying to respond to every request. So global coordination between agencies is also the other thing. How do you get, like, Scotland Yard to be on the same page as the FBI and things like that? That's where things became standardized with a lot of these forensic things, where you will see that's where there's guidelines, guide rails, right, to keep us in check. So back into it. Cloud, mobile, and IT, the modern evidence landscape. That's what you deal with mostly now. Digital evidence expanded beyond local computers, right, to smartphones, like I mentioned. Cloud services and connected devices. Examples, GPS data from phones, cloud stored emails and documents, right, because email is no longer on premises anymore. It's all been moved to cloud pretty much. It's all stored somewhere offsite in a warehouse and server racks. It's not like hosted in your main office anymore. And if you are, like, working circa 2000 still environments, which still exist for small mom and pops, but even cloud's becoming cheaper. So smart home device logs, like, yeah, you have a smart lock. I'm sure it can track when you came home, when you unlocked it with your thumbprint or a pin pad or whatnot. Wearable device metadata. A lot of people don't think about that. Smartwatches. I don't have one. I don't think I'll ever get one, but that tracks your data too and keeps logs of where you've been with GPS data and your cell phone data too. So that's important. Evidence now exists across multiple platforms and jurisdictions. Yeah, it's true. It's just, it can be everywhere and just thrown to the wind, right? You can be in Kansas today and Oklahoma tomorrow, and then Texas the next day, and your data's all in 3 different places. All right, so now advanced technologies that both enhance and complicate digital investigations. So full disk encryption. It takes a long time to unencrypt a hard drive. It's tons of data, right? We're not in the realm of megabytes. We're not in the realm of like 100 gigabytes. We're talking like thousands, like a petabyte, hundreds of thousands of gigabytes, terabytes. It takes a long time. Secure messaging apps like WhatsApp, Telegram, WeChat, I think it's a Chinese one. I'll be honest with you, all 3 of these, even WhatsApp, they all have a backdoor for federal agencies. I'm not going to argue they don't. Don't act like they don't. They do. If they really want to get information from it, they will. That's a whole different animal. I'm not touching on it. Just it's the legality of the thing that's there. Just, people act like it isn't. I won't get into it. AI-generated deepfakes I've mentioned. That's pretty common now, sadly, where they pretend to be somebody else and talking nonsense or whatnot. Log tampering, yeah, and data wiping tools, those exist. They're common-ish. For the smarter criminal, yeah, they're more common. Investigators must now combat intentional obfuscation, so they try to hide something even harder. It's a game of cat and mouse. You outsmart them, they outsmart you, and you go back and forth. It's an ever-ending ladder. You're climbing against somebody else that's trying to do bad things, essentially. So let's move on, or not, apparently, according to my computer. So these are core concepts you guys pretty much have to know. You will know like the back of your hand. Don't worry. This is just an overview of the rest of the class, pretty much, I believe, from here on out. So, low cards exchange principle in the digital world, I've discussed this. It's just relieving a trace, be it physical, digital, it's there. Volatile data versus non-volatile. Volatile is mostly the physical stuff, right? Fibers break down, blood breaks down, dries out. What else? Like fingerprints will even degrade because oil from the finger just dries out, right? If you leave a fingerprint, it's gone. Non-volatile data, you can copy and make a million copies and keep it safe. There's chain of custody and digital evidence, which I will discuss later. It's just overview. Hashing and evidence integrity. We will do hashing, MD5 and SHA. We will do a little bit of that. You'll be creating, examining, making, and unmaking to unravel things as well. Forensic imaging versus copying files. I've talked about briefly. We can dive into a little more. Writer's block and why they matter. Writer's block. They sound similar. They're not. It's my fault. The digital forensic process model is going to be included. We talk about that as well. So we're just diving into, so I just mentioned what it was, right? I'm just briefly going over it. So every digital interaction leaves a trace. I mentioned that opening a file creates access timestamps, log entries, possible temporary files. Every click leaves a footprint. It's just in there so you remember it, not just for me. It is what it is. It's the truth. If I create a new text file, it's going to have everything in it on the right. If I go to properties, you can try it right now if you want. Go to your desktop, right click, new, and select the text file, folder, whatever. Title it test, then right-click properties, and you can look at all the information in there. And you will see it tells you when you created it, when you last accessed it, who created it. It could be your username or your full name, however you log into your PC and or Mac will be a little different, but still be able to show the same things. It's things like that you will start seeing a little more. So, what's volatile versus non-volatile data? Volatile data disappears when power is lost. Well, think about it. Whenever you're on a computer and whenever you load a program, it's accessed from the hard drive and loaded into RAM. Okay, that makes sense. But when the power is down, the RAM is dumped. Volatile data. Non-volatile data, like logs, remain stored after the computer shuts down. See, RAM, I didn't even look at it, renew. So non-volatile data, hard drive files, is SSD data, which is another hard drive, right? So RAM must be captured first in live investigations. There are RAM capture tools. We will use one in a lab where you capture your live RAM and you can examine it and you can search through it and see what it stores as it's ran or running. Okay, so we'll do that later. I think it's unit 5, somewhere around there, because we don't get into programs in reality until about week 3. Midterm's week 4. I get it. Don't worry. Midterm won't be hard. I won't make it hard. It's going to be open note and open book anyway. Not open instructor, guys. I'm not there. But, you'll have time to do the midterm. Don't worry. I'm not going to make life difficult or as difficult as it can be. Because I get it. It's college. You all have lives. Things happen. We move on. I get it. I'm human. Believe it or not. Things happen on my end too. So chain of custody. What's that mean? Documentation that tracks who collected, handled, transferred, analyzed evidence, right? I mentioned this briefly. So let's say a laptop is seized. So it's tagged with a case number, logged in the evidence system, and signed when transferred to forensic lab. So that has to happen. Without documentation, evidence cannot be challenged in court. Essentially, you have to have all these items filled out properly and accounted for so you can present it as admissible evidence to the court. I talk about that more also in the legal proceedings, those kind of stuff towards the end of the class. It gets a little dry, though, I'm warning you, but just stick with me and you'll be fine. I try to make it as entertaining as I can, but even reading about it or mentioning certain objects can get boring. I apologize. It's just all this stuff. It's how computer science works in general, and information systems, the same thing practically, but not programming-ish too much. It can get dry. It's just things you got to understand. So hashing, right? I mentioned it briefly. Here's an example. A cryptograph fingerprint used to verify that digital evidence has not been altered. Before imaging a drive, generate a SHA-256 hash. After imaging, hash the copy. If hashes so you rehash it, so you form a hash. If hashes match, integrity confirmed. It's like let's put it. It's like a really good fingerprint that is really hard to alter. But if they match up, even after you scramble or after you copied it, you mean a 1-to-1. And that's what you want. So this way, it can be legally entered as evidence in any kind of case. So what's the difference? Copying files transfers visible files only. Forensic imaging creates a bit-by-bit duplicate of the entire storage device. So when you image something or copy the image, you grab the whole thing. You copy the hard drive sector by sector, bit by bit, byte by byte. So copying misses deleted files, slack space, hidden partition. Imaging preserves everything. So it copies the whole thing, 100%. Nothing is skipped. So, right blockers and why they matter. Your hardware or software tool prevents any modification to the original evidence drive. Example, connecting a suspect drive directly to a computer can alter metadata. A write blocker ensures that no timestamp changes, no accidental file updates occur, and protects the original at all costs. So this way, it won't. So you're digging around for evidence on this hard drive, right? And you have a write blocker in place. Essentially, it might be software more now than it was hardware back in the day. I'm thinking about it. If you access like a file that says phone numbers, right, and you find a big piece of evidence in there that you needed, like, oh, it's a phone number for Joey Jojo Shabadoo. It's from The Simpsons, don't quote me. And the guy was out crying from the bar. It's a joke. It's a West Day may have a hood. And I needed that contact information for this person because they're a suspect in whatever. It'll show last accessed if you don't have the write blocker in that day, and that throws the whole thing out as evidence. You can't use that piece. But if you have the write blocker in place, it'll still show last date when it was used. And you can say, oh, suspects, just let's say Moses Lexus for the back of a better suspect, did access this phone list, and Joey Joe Shabadoo was found there, so they have to have been in cahoots or whatever. That's how you can look at it too. I'm just using Simpson references because I grew up on it. I apologize if I went over your head. If you want to know, message me on Canvas and that'll be a sidebar conversation. Try to make it fun, guys. I'm not trying to make this boring, and I apologize if it is. So digital forensic process model, very important, guys. Hint, hint, might be on the midterm, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, hubba, hubba. It will be on the midterm, I guarantee you. So what is it? It's a structured method for conducting digital investigations. So basic phases. You identify, preserve the data, collect the data, examine the data, analyze the data, and you make reports. You will be making reports. It's all generated for you in reality when you do cases from the book. The book is needed for this class, guys. I'm not kidding. Because we do a lot of casework out of there from what we have. So, just remember that. If you got this far in the lecture, hey, congrats. You got about 21 slides left, and this lecture is pretty much over. So then you get to week 2 next week. I don't try to bombard you that much the first week, guys. You're trying to settle in. I get it. It is what it is. not trying to circle back to my orientation, but I did mention, I'm a resource for you guys. I'll get back to the lecture in a minute. But, you guys need help deciding where you want to work, what you want to do. You're just curious, message me. You need help with your resume, let me know. You need a cover letter, let me know. You need help with a letter of reference for me, let me know. Again, it's my job to be a resource for you guys. I sat in your guys' seat for 10 years feeling lost, not knowing what I wanted to do, and I eventually made it work somehow. So, if you're feeling lost with where to go, what to do, or how to figure things out for the department, or for what you want to work in terms of computer science, information systems, or what have you, talk to me. Maybe I can point you in some internships around the area or companies, and we can hash some things out. And don't worry, it's what I do for you guys. It's just who I am. Now, you don't need to give me $5 or none of that. But let's get back into this, okay? Sorry if I segue out of it. It's just things I have to remember. I kind of need to talk about. All right. So here's the model again. So with an example this time, ransomware case. So you identify the affected system, right? Preserve the logs of the system, collect a disk image of the system, analyze the artifacts, which would be the image of the disk, right? Then you report your findings. I found it was accessed externally at this time, from this IP. They did this YZ in the logs. They did that. They installed this. Cool. We can now look at that and see where it went to or whatnot. That's how that would work. I know I'm making it sound very mundane, very fast, but it normally doesn't go that fast. This is just, again, an overview for the class. So if this is too fast, doesn't work for you, let me know. I repeat that a lot because I can lose people and I don't mean to. So these are kind of the domains, essence of where digital forensics kind of lives. Computer forensics is one thing. Mobile device forensics is another. It's a whole different kit. Network forensics is a different animal. Cloud forensics, which kind of goes hand in hand with network forensics now. Then memory RAM forensics kind of goes with computer forensics. Then you have malware and incident response forensics. Those are, again, all different aspects you can get into with all this kind of stuff. We don't branch out that far, sadly. We will do a little computer forensics and memory RAM forensics. This is just an intro class, okay? Because advanced, and I had a lab, I could have you guys run until we do a bunch of cloud stuff. But I don't. Of course, I don't have that kind of money, sadly. So, define computer forensics. The investigation of data stored on computers and storage devices. Hard drives, flash drives, a tower, like my big old gaming PC there. Yes, guys, I'm a gamer. Some days. I'm old. I get it. And then analyze the suspect's laptop to recover deleted files, browser history, USB connection logs. You guys will be scanning, pardon me, I'm itchy, USB flash drive. So borrow one, get one, see what you're going to recover from it. That's going to be a lab. We'll get to it. I'm telling you, we're going to be doing stuff. We will get there. It's going to get funner. I'm a big proprietor of hands-on, guys. If you can't get messy with it, you can't have fun with it, you're not going to learn. If you won't break something, sadly, you're not going to learn either. So don't worry, you're not going to break your computer. I promise you won't do that. Mobile device forensics. What is it? The extraction and analysis of data from smartphones and tablets, recovering text messages, call logs, GPS location data, app activity. So I have some experience with this in the past. When I worked in a middle school, of all places, they had me recover text data and call logs from students' cell phones with the parents' permission. Without it, I would not even touch the bloody device, because in reality, it wasn't the student's device, right? It was the mother or father's device that they gave to them as a present to use. So I had to recover pictures. Nothing bad, don't worry. Nothing crazy. Just fights or like bullying, tagging, stuff like that. Text messages did get a little dicey. I had to recover some self-harm text messages. No pictures, thank God. Some threats, like I'm gonna kick your butt at the schoolyard after 4, things like that. A lot of bullying, a lot of cyberbullying too. I had to figure out, was I paid for that kind of work in reality? No, but I know how to do it. Yeah, I guess, but it's just you get into that kind of realm. That was without tools, by the way. So you kind of had to figure out how to filter manually. This was like the Wild West, like 10 plus years ago. But that's neither here nor there. Now there's tools dedicated to the stuff. We don't have them. We can't use them because they're expensive. And sadly, again, intro class, right? Network forensics, pardon me. The monitoring and analysis of network traffic to detect and investigate suspicious activity. Examining firewall and router logs to determine sources of a breach, data exfiltration, unauthorized remote access. That goes hand in hand with computer forensics usually too. If it's ransomware, this is going to be pulled right in because it's a network issue, right? So, where's the source, where's it come from, where they hit, how far did it spread, who is it affecting, how many departments, how many people, blah, 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 blah. That's how all that kind of goes. So, here we are. Cloud forensics, the investigation of data stored on remote cloud platforms and services. Examples, collecting evidence from Google Drive, Microsoft 365 logs, AWS server logs, that kind of deal. a lot of crimes have moved to the digital world, right? The cloud world. So that's becoming more and more prevalent every bloody day. So if you want to get, I mean, yeah, you look, you'll make money doing any of this, and that's not really the point. It's if you enjoy it and you take great joy in doing this, you will be happy doing it. It's not about chasing the money, guys. It's not even that, in my opinion, when you find your career. It's about doing what you enjoy, what you have fun with, and you can do it the rest of your life, and it doesn't feel like work. That's probably one of the greatest things you could ever accomplish, in my opinion, for working. But if you're going after the money, I'm not saying money is important, but you won't be happy doing it. And if you're not happy doing it, you got to reevaluate it. I'm not trying to discourage anyone. That's not the point. I'm just being real with you guys. Okay? So RAM forensics, the analysis of volatile memory to uncover running processes and active threats. Example, capture RAM to identify running malware, encryption keys, active network sessions. Yeah, this kind of ties in with computer forensics because RAM's on a computer, on a phone, on a cloud. RAM's kind of everywhere, right? So, yeah, why it's broken up like this, I don't know. It's just it should be a sub bullet point in my opinion for everything. Even networking devices have RAM, right? Even switches can be smart, and so are routers. They have memory, which is RAM. So my eyes are bulging because it's like, it's kind of dumb, but I get it. So malware incident response forensics. This one's, I think, the hardest one to work in because you investigate malicious software and respond to cybersecurity incidents. So you analyze ransomware to determine, it's just the best example, guys, infection vector, like where, who, why, when it impacted, how big was the impact, and persistent mechanisms. So what is triggering it? Is it a keystroke? Is it a phrase that they type in? Is it something in the ransomware that they, or in the ransom letter that they receive? Like, hey, your files are encrypted, blah, 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 blah. Type this to continue, whatever could be the trigger. That is what it's asking for. So what causes it to go off? So legal, ethical foundation, search warrants and digital evidence, Fourth Amendment and privacy, corporate versus criminal investigations, expert witness testimony, ethics and digital investigations. We will cover this more in depth. Again, just a brief overview. Give me a minute, guys. Gotta check something. Sorry about that, guys. I was being asked what I want for lunch, which rarely happens. So, search warrants and digital evidence. A legal document authorizing law enforcement to search and seize digital devices or data. A warrant allows police to seize a suspect's laptop, access email accounts, search cloud storage. Digital warrants must specify scope, what data can be searched. Here's the other thing. Warrants aren't technically physical. They can literally email a judge with the warrant attached. The judge can sign it as a PDF, send it back, and that is their digital warrant. They can show you on a tablet if they have. Hands really has. Sorry, I'm just making the motions like if I had a tablet in my hands. They can show you, like, here's the warrant signed by a judge. It is what it is. Go. At that point, grab the stuff and search. So, Fourth Amendment and privacy. Here's where it gets very, very, very dicey because we all have our rights, right? Constitutional protection against unreasonable search and seizure. Example, police here only need a warrant to search a smartphone, a personal computer, or private cloud accounts. Digital devices contain the modern equivalent of someone's entire life. That's true, but they can't just, hey, give me if you're recording a police officer, let's say, they can't just grab your phone and search it. If they do, they're breaking the Fourth Amendment. That's the best way I can put it. So, you feel, I'm sorry my head's in the way. Let me see if I can move it. Okay, fixed it. On to the next slide. Corporate versus criminal investigations. So what's the difference? Digital investigations concluded in private companies versus law enforcement. Example, corporate investigates employee data theft. Criminal prosecutes hacking or fraud. Two different animals, but they can still intersect, remember? You still have what's called an insider attack for someone being disgruntled or feel like they're owed something or didn't get it, whatever. They can trigger these kinds of things, like they can steal data, right? Or they can perform a hack. At that point, it's a corporate and criminal. You can become a hybrid, but usually the criminal would trump it because the corporate investigation can only go so far, then the criminal one will take over, and then it just becomes a whole different bag of worms. It can even become a federal offense. So, hacking is technically a federal offense, right? I believe. So, difference. Corporate cases may not require a warrant, but must follow company policy and employee law. That's true. They don't need a warrant, but police ones do if they need to search anything else. So, moving on. Expert witness testimony. A qualified professional presenting digital forensic findings in court. Examples. A forensic analyst explaining how a hard drive was imaged, how hashes verified integrity, how deleted files were recovered. Now, when they have to explain these kinds of things in court, guys, they have to essentially dumb it down, and I'm not trying to be insulting, okay? They have to dumb it down so the average person, like a middle schooler, can understand. Because not everyone's computer savvy, let's face it. So, like, if you're explaining something, I explain RAM this way, right? RAM's like a highway. If you're in rush hour, how bad's RAM? Let's say you have 4 lanes north, 4 lanes south, 8 gigs. How horrible is that in rush hour on a freeway? You know, your parking lot. Double it, 16. 8 north, 8 south. A little better, still some congestion. Now double it again to 32. So 16 lanes north, 16 lanes south. How's that? Almost no traffic. So that's kind of how you have to dumb things down when you explain things to people, not just me, in general when it comes to technology. Just not trying to insult anybody, that's just the way the world works, right? So key points. Investigators must document everything because they may testify under oath. That's very true. You will see all of this later. Again, overview. So moving on, we have more legal ethical stuff. So ethics in digital investigations. Professionals' responsibility to handle digital investigations lawfully and objectively. Not exceed warrant scope. So you can't go outside the scope of the warrant. If you're only allowed to search like the pictures folder, don't go searching outside the pictures folder. Not altering evidence. Don't alter anything, pictures or related items. Report findings accurately, even if inconvenient. You are not there to win. You are there to uncover the truth, which leads you to win. I know. Contradiction, right? So, moving on. Thinking like an investigator. Attention to detail and documenting. Report writing is a professional skill. Careers in digital forensics. So we'll cover all this, don't worry. Certifications and industry pathways. So this is towards the end. We're almost done. We're on slide 60. 4 more to go. 5 more to go. Thinking like an investigator. Approach digital evidence with curiosity, objectivity, and critical thinking. Example. So I'm asking, is this malware? Ask, how did it get there? When was it executed? What system changes occurred? Assume nothing. Verify everything. It's the truth. Assumptions can lead you to errors. Also, so keep that in mind. So, attention to detail and documentation. Carefully record every step taken during evidence collection analysis, like word for word, step by step, write it down or type it down. Documenting date, time of seizure, hash values after you analyze the drive, tools and versions used, analysis steps performed. You will be doing all this in labs. Don't worry. Key point, it is not documented. It didn't happen. How can you prove it if you didn't write it down? There's no record of it, right? So, report writing as a professional skill. Definition. Clearly communicate technical findings in a way non-technical audiences can understand. So I said about dumbing it down. Explaining what was found. So I found the pictures of the missing dog in this pictures folder that was in the warrant, located on C/users/dog hunter/pictures. How it was found. I scanned it with, 8-kill scan program. Why it matters. This proves, or this verifies that this person, dog hunter, captured said dog at X time based on the metadata of the picture, blah, 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 or break it down even further and make it simpler. So people can understand. This was a made up example, please. I would never hurt a dog. I have 3. Just giving you something you can kind of like think on, or rather chew on, is what I prefer to say. So, what careers can you have? Professional roles focus on investigation, analyzing digital evidence. Law enforcement's a really big one. They hire digital forensic investigators a lot. And then there's corporate, DFIR analysts, cybersecurity incident responder, kind of segues in it too. E-discovery specialist, expert witness consultant. Consulting is where a lot of people make a lot, which would be narrow, but it's up to you. You kind of have to wear multiple hats doing that. Key point, digital forensics overlaps with cybersecurity a lot, hence this is a cybersecurity class, right? Your report may be read by a judge, jury, CEO, or HR manager, so keep that in mind, depending wherever you work. So on to the next one. So, professional credentials that validate digital forensic expertise. Certifications often supplement degrees, not replace them. Okay, keep that in mind. So you can have the CompTIA Security Plus, it's foundational. The CIAG, or which entails this GCFE or GCFA exam. The in-case certified examiner, that one's kind of hard to get. Certified forensic computer examiner, that one's also hard but doable. Because if you have like a bachelor's in cybersecurity, information technology, these make you more specialized. So they make you more hireable on paper, guys. So let's get a recap of what we just went over all this entire unit. Here's my recap, right? So, digital forensics is a process of collecting, preserving, analyzing, and presenting digital evidence in a way that maintains integrity and is legally admissible. Should have is in there. Throughout the unit, we explored how modern crimes often involve digital evidence and data. Investigators have evolved from digital physical evidence to digital artifacts. Cybercrime now includes threats such as ransomware, identity theft, and nation-state attacks. Investigators must follow legal, ethical, and procedural standards, right? There's guidelines for this stuff. Key concepts like hashing, chain of custody, and forensic imaging protect evidence integrity. Remember, every digital action leaves a trace, and digital forensic professionals are responsible for uncovering those traces while maintaining accuracy, legality, and objectivity. All right, guys. So this is the end of Unit 1. You have assignments you need to do. Obviously, there's a discussion you need to reply to, and there's one activity involves reading, right? I know. Gotta read part of the first chapter. It sucks. I get it. But so you can understand and this stuff gets reinforced. So, and just answer it, email it. All right, email it, submit it via Canvas, and I will grade it as fast as I can. If you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out to me, and I will get back to you as fast as I can. Till then, guys, have a good one, and I will see you in Unit 2.